And we are live on Facebook once again. Let me just turn off some phones here. There we go. Welcome, our Christian Minson here, welcoming you to Facebook Live, Breathwork Edition every Friday at Rythmia, 1 o'clock here in Costa Rican time. If you are tuning in to the recording after this live version, skip to about 4 or 5 minutes in, then that's when we start with the content. Until then, we're just welcoming people. Say hi if you're in, give me some thumbs up, give me some little hearts. What is that? Hearts and thumbs up, and from the chat bar, type in hello, tell me where you're from. And I already know a few people, Doreen Ann, Michelle Dixon, hey there, how you doing? Good to have you on and good to be here. Ellis Miller, hello. Where are you coming from, Ellis? And I'm just gonna relax a little. Maybe shut the compartments here, make it look a little nicer. Tell me, hey, Christian from California. Hey, that's cool. Suzanne Ellis and Ellis J. Miller. Michelle Dixon, Vancouver Island is beautiful today. I'm waiting for somebody to invite me out there so I can come see for myself. David from Seattle, Ellis from New York, Marissa from Youngstown, Ohio. Hey, excellent. Welcome, welcome. And we're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. Just give a few people a chance to get on, see if we can get up to our normal number of live viewers before moving on. Of course, these go into the archives every week on Facebook Live videos, and then on the Rythmia YouTube page, you can find all of the Facebook Lives that not only I have done, but Jerry has done, Candice, I got my miracle segments, Dr. Jeff, our psychotherapist. All those can be found on the YouTube page, the Rythmia YouTube page, and the Rythmia Facebook page from which this is broadcasting. So if you're on, you at least know how to get there. Come on, let's boost those numbers. Some more people get on. Meanwhile, Michelle Dixon, I'm welcome anytime. Hey, excellent. We can do a breathwork class or classes. All right, let's talk about that. Text me privately online after this, and we'll keep that alive, because I would love to come to Vancouver, and I would love to do breathwork there. Jamie from Ireland, once again, hey there. And Doreen from LA. Wayne from Northern Michigan, is that? Or New Mexico? New Mexico, that's it, yeah. Great, all right, well, we're still trying to get a person or two to sign on. We've got essentially 1 minute left. It is a typical day here in Costa Rica, which is sunny, hot, beautiful, natural. What else could you ask for? This is Pura Vida. This is the life, and this is, of course, the topic we'll be discussing today. And a few more. Okay, Michelle's putting some people on. Excellent. Patty from Phoenix, hey there. And Gail from Los Angeles. Beautiful. I will mention in the time I will be doing a breathwork seminar, a 6-day breathwork thing on August, I think it's 19th through 24th in San Diego, California. So look for that. Breathflow.com, my website, will have the details there. All right, so I think we're at the point. Marilyn, hi, and Patty, we said hi. All right, we're going to get started. Welcome, everybody, officially to Rythmia Live. Breathwork Edition. I am your host every Friday at 1 p.m. Costa Rican Central Time, which does not do daylight savings time, so it's actually different from Central Time, U.S. But R. Christian Minson here, director of the Breathwork program at Rythmia Life Advancement Center here in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. I am a certified transformational breath facilitator, senior trainer with the Transformational Breath Foundation for the last 12 years. Traveled all over the world, giving lectures, seminars, experiences in breath work. And I'm a speaker, an author, a former monk. So everything I do is from a much well-rounded spiritual perspective. And ultimately an internet coach, your catalyst for evolution and awakening so that you can transform your life into something beautiful and something great using tools like breath work and the wisdom that I've got here. And hey, Sudha has joined. Welcome. And I know you're from Melbourne, Australia. And then Amanda from Louisiana. So today, our topic is Pura Vida, Pura Vida, and that's how you'll say it, Pura Vida. This is, and actually in Spanish, the V would be more like a B, so Pura Vida, Vida, which is the Costa Rican culture. We're going to be talking about the culture of Pura Vida that's alive here in Costa Rica. Why did I choose this one? I thought, it's nice to have a light topic once in a while, but I was reflecting, Costa Ricans in general, of course there's always exceptions to the rule, don't typically have a lot in possessions, a lot in that we might be used to in the Western worlds like the Americas and such, but they are some of the happiest people on the planet. And Andrea Berry joined. Hello. Just talking with her the other day. Costa Ricans are some of the happiest people on the planet, despite the fact that they have very little. And I know, coming from a very Western-oriented culture, the United States, North America, is that we tend to have it all. We are the wealthiest peoples on the planet, and yet probably some of the most uptight people on the planet. Stress, anxiety, depression, over-medicated. We're, as a culture, the West, which probably led by America, but certainly includes Europe and probably even getting into China and those Asian countries as well. We need to learn how to relax. And Costa Rica and its Pura Vida attitude is something that you come from the Western culture, it can drive you crazy at first, and I certainly had to get adjusted myself. If you don't understand the underlying harmony to it, but when you do, it can be your greatest friend and your greatest ally. So I got some people give me thumbs up and likes. If you like what I'm saying, go ahead and say that. Andrea is saying simple and happy, and hello. And Christian from Vancouver, and Angel, nice, miss you too. So what is Pura Vida? Literally, it's translated as pure life. Pura meaning pure, vida meaning life, pure life, or the simple life. So this seems to be an overriding philosophy that, to live a peaceful, simple, uncluttered life with deep appreciation for nature. That's a typical aspect of, Costa Rica is very naturally oriented. In fact, I don't know if they have the most, but they've got a massive amount of protected land in their country, and it's great. There's a great lake that's in the middle of Costa Rica, Arenal Lake, and you can build houses around it, but you can't even build at the edge of the lake. So when you're driving through there and you can see this lake forever, you barely see any houses because they're not, they have to be built away. That just adds to the pristine nature. And then of course, where they live is a little bit further away. You got access to that nice lake, but it's good. So, Pura Vida is Costa Rica's lifestyle, the simple life, the pure life. But it's more than just a saying. You'll hear them say it everywhere, and we'll get into that in a minute. Costa Ricans typically called ticos, and that's a benevolent name. You're not saying anything bad to call a Costa Rican a tico. And they use this term like Canadians use a, or Americans use it's all good, or it's like you can use it in just about any context. I was speaking with some of the Costa Ricans here and asking them, what is this about? What is this? Where did it come from and all that? And one of them felt like it really came from the East Coast, the Caribbean side of the country, which is really African influenced. A lot of Africans either migrated or by slave ships or whatever, ended up populating that eastern coast, and he felt like it really originated from there. It's the other perspective is that Costa Ricans are really the hippies, so to speak, of the Central Americas. I was reading a little bit more. It seemed like around the 1980s, this really started to come into fashion to use this phrase Pura Vida, and it was that Costa Rica was really this chill country in the middle of essentially war-torn Central America. I mean, Venezuela, Nicaragua, you name it. It seemed like there are all sorts of problems happening, and yet Costa Rica, very interestingly, does not have an army. So that's a huge cultural shift right there. That they're just not a violent nation, right? They're not concerned about the aggression that so many other countries are. Even and yet they seem to be pretty relaxed about being protected too. Nobody seems to care to invade them. Maybe because they're just so pura vida and laid back. So I think that was another reason. It was such a sort of a bed of peace and tranquility that this Pura Vida really reflected that here in Costa Rica, while everything else was kind of in chaos. Ultimately, as I was talking to the ticos here that work here at Rythmia, they felt like Pura Vida really meant to be happy. It's really, the lifestyle is founded in happiness, a simple happiness. Essentially the perspective is like, it's all good, right? It's all good. No matter what happens, it's all good. No matter what's going to happen, it's going to be all good. Pura Vida. And I mean, it's such a mindset shift from being stressed and worried about the future, having to make things happen, meeting quotas, doing all this, which we're so used to in the Western world. And Andrea is saying, you feel so safe as soon as you land in Costa Rica. And yeah, isn't it true? You get here and it's like, wow, everybody's so chill and relaxed. And it's like, it doesn't feel like anybody's out to get me. You have to be careful, like any foreign country, especially third world countries. There's still people that there's apparently a good amount of petty theft here. Very little violent crime and very little, crimes of aggression. There tends to be a lot more petty theft and things like that. Obviously, for those who don't have enough, finding whatever means to get it. And so that you have to be careful for. You should never just walk in any place in a Pollyanna type of attitude, like, oh, nothing's going to happen to me. But in general, this place is very safe and very happy, very chill. What makes it so? What makes it so? What is this? What makes it Pura Vida? And I think there's three things that I kind of see in talking to the to ticos here. first of all, they have a very friends and family orientation. This place is so much, Ticos are so much about relationship, which again can drive Westerners crazy because, and I know myself, I tend to be a little bit more task oriented. And, you know, if there's a task to be done, they'll sit there and relate, and the task will eventually get done. You know, Pura Vida, it will be done. Much like the Mexicans will say mañana, right? Mañana meaning tomorrow, but really it just means whenever, you know, later basically. So friends and family, the really the honoring of relationship and the priority of connecting with people. And again, this is why they're so happy. Jerry, our CEO here, in his closing class would often talk about, I don't know if he's still talking about it these days, but they did a study, I think Harvard did this study that went over 50 decades and included presidents and CEOs and people of every, you know, walk of life as to what was the true cause of happiness. And in the end, you know what they found out? Close personal relationships. Close personal relationships were the essence of those people who were really happy in their lives. And so Costa Ricans seem to know that just inherently. The culture fosters that. And then task comes later. The other, you know, so element number 2 really is, let's see, before I get into that, and Angel's saying, I long for that feeling again. Yeah, well, come on down. We're ready for you. Gord has joined, all right. And, you know, hi there, Gord, and everyone from the Niagara region in Ontario, Canada. Definitely better than Oakville. Great. So, oh, Valerie Porto's on too. Welcome. From Brazil, and just talking with her the other day. So, element number 2, first of all, was friends and family perspective. The second element, not having too much, right? There's been another study out there in the Western world, I know, where it said, does more money make you happier? And it seemed like that, I'll paraphrase the study from what I remember, that up to a point, more money was better. And that point, I believe, was something like $70,000. If an individual was making less than $70,000 a year, that if they got more money, it would increase their happiness and increase their well-being and all that. Once it got beyond 70,000, it started to show a reverse trend. The more money that you got, 80,000, 100,000, 150,000, all that, started to decrease in happiness. And so, you know, more is not necessarily better. It's better up to a point, but beyond that point, there's diminishing returns. And once again, more and essentially more wealth does not create happiness. So in Costa Rica, they don't have a lot, but they have a lot of what matters. And what is that? Good, fresh food. You know, fresh fruits, generally good farming practices. They got natural environment, an abundance of natural environment. It's just so pristine, like I was mentioning earlier. They can't even build on the edge of the lake. So it keeps that pristine quality. And, you know, sea on both sides of the country, the Atlantic, the Caribbean Atlantic, and then the Pacific. It really, you know, that is, I think, one of the gold mines of Costa Rica is the coast, because the beaches are nice, generally clean. The water is pure. The water is warm. The surf is really amazing. So if you're a surfer, it's like heaven. You can stay out in the water for hours, catching great waves, and not freeze to death. I'm from San Diego, and that's pretty much southernmost part of the Pacific side of the United States. And still, I usually wouldn't get into the ocean until July. I basically have a window from mid-July to about mid-September where the water was really warm enough that you could go in, and still even then, after about 45 minutes, you start getting a little cold. So beautiful warm water, beautiful environment, and they take advantage of the environment. You appreciate that, and that environment includes the sea, the jungle, and as a pristine environment, there's a lot of life here. And I really believe that the more diversified life is, the more harmoniously you live with the diversity of nature, meaning all the animals, all the bugs, all the snakes, and all that stuff, there's a deeper underlying harmony. And then, again, I reflect on my time in the United States, and we tend to have this, we take, as I think the Bible said, we have dominion over the earth, and we take that as domination over the earth, and we just like overlay our societal needs, so to speak, over the earth, at the expense of ecosystems, at the expense of habitats, expense of life of different kind of animals, and so the diversity, for one, is very small, and then two, you hardly see an animal these days in the suburbs and all that. Here, since I've been in Costa Rica on the Rythmia property itself, the first day I got here, I saw 2 skunks, and there's some skunks that live here, and they're really chill as well. They live Pura Vida. They don't get all scared if you're confronting them. They don't just get it and spray right away. They look at you and then they wander off in the other direction. So I've seen skunks. I've seen a snake here, a couple snakes basically off campus. I've seen an aardvark, an anteater, a little anteater animal. I've seen armadillo. We have an armadillo that walks around here. Monkeys, of course, howler monkeys, cutest things. They sound like they are the wildest beasts with the biggest teeth and fangs. If you hear them in the middle of the jungle and you're all by yourself, you would think that you're going to get eaten alive. And then you see them, and they're about like this big and super cute, but they sound like they're mad. Let's see. Andrew's saying, more money, more problem. Self-love and your loves are the one what it's all about. And that is. Andrea, inviting Ross in. Yeah, that's great. Ross is a good guy. I haven't seen him too often on my Facebook Lives. The more you have to worry about. Yeah. That reminds me of, we used to have in the ashram, the monastic order, there was a story called All for a Rag. So there was a holy man who decided that he was going to renounce it all and live, a pious, holy life, meditating and living off the alms of others. And so he found a little cave to live in, and he's in there. And all he had was himself and his loincloth, right? And every night he washed his loincloth and hung it out to dry. And in the morning he saw that it got nibbled on by a mouse. And this went on until the mouse almost nibbled away all his loincloth. He's like, geez, look at this. I gave away everything. I renounced everything. All I had was a loincloth, and now a mouse is eating my loincloth. This is absurd. I don't deserve this. So one of the town folk heard about this, and he came one day and offered the wise man a cat. He said, "Here, I will give you a cat. You can have this cat, so it will chase away the mice, so that you'll have you won't have any worries with your loincloth." And so the saint graciously accepted the cat, and the cat was good at keeping the mouse away, but the cat needed feeding. The cat needed milk. And so now he had a new quandary here. Who's sending me all those hearts? That's great. Sydney, is that you? Coming in just a week. So anyway, back to the story. So he's needing to feed this cat now. Now he's got a new worry. The town folks hear about this, and one of them comes and says, I will offer you a cow. I will give you this cow so you can milk the cow, and you will then have milk for the cat, so the cat can keep the mouse away. So he graciously accepted the cow, and so that he got milk to feed the cat kept the mouse away, but the cow needed feeding, right? The cow needed care and feeding. So the cow basically eats grain, so it needed grain. Once again, another town person heard about this and said, I will donate you acres of land, so you can have acres of land so that you can harvest the grain, so that the cow can eat, so you can get milk for the cow to get the cat, and the cat will keep the mice away. So again, so he takes the land, but then the land needs working on. So another town folk comes and offers him his daughter and says, you can have my daughter in marriage, and then you can produce a son. The son can work on the land so that you can harvest the grain to feed the cow, so the cow can give you milk, so you can feed the cat, so you can keep the mouse away, on and on. So here it is now, the full production. The guy's got a family, he's got land, he's got livestock, he's got pets, and God comes down from the heavens and said, hey, I thought you were renouncing everything. And he said, and then, as the story goes, he came out of his delusion and said, all for a rag, right? I had this loincloth and I wanted to, I felt like I needed to protect this, and all this got built up just so that I could keep my one possession, the loincloth. So here we go. That story really just illustrates how more generates, more problems that then we solve with bringing in more, which just generates more problems. And so we got to keep bringing in more and more. So that is the opposite of the Pura Vida lifestyle, right? It's not having too much. So, good food, good environment, good diversity, warm weather, basically good climate. These are the gold of Costa Rica, right? This is the thing that really keeps, the value, the true value of this place. And then, so friends and family perspective, not having too much. And then the third thing is just a slower pace, right? There's, nobody's in a hurry to get anything done around here. Partly that may be because of the roads. The roads are so, not so developed that it requires you to move a lot slower. But I think, there's a deeper thing about, it's like, really, why be bothered? Like, why, this whole idea, why work yourself up about something that you don't actually have to work yourself up about? So, in the West, we're like, get it done. We got to get this done. We got to get the papers in on time. We got to get the report in. We got to do this. We got to do that so we can go on vacation. We got to, save up money, and we got to work hard, and we got to buy all our supplies and this. And, after a while, it's, we're just frenetic, and we can't even vacation on slow mode, because now we got to go on vacation. We got to do everything. We got to go ziplining and go kayaking and go eat at all the fancy restaurants and go dancing. And, by the end, you need a vacation from your vacation. So this slower pace really is just part of the culture. It permeates it. I think the warm weather helps there too. There's, you don't have to move fast when you're already warm. Now, I've been in Canada a number of times in the last few months, and you know, when it's minus 15 degrees, you need to move. Your pace perhaps needs to be a little bit faster. But that's why you want to come down to Costa Rica. Michelle, this resonates so much. I love the sharing. Oh, thanks. We become human doings, not human beings. Yeah, exactly. Who's replying to that? Michelle, replying to yourself. And that's true. We really start doing, instead of taking a breath, just being, understanding that everything we need is pretty much right here, and we don't have to strive too much more. I would like, while I'm talking too, if any of you who have been here, you know, what you've noticed about the Pura Vida lifestyle, what you feel it's all about. If you can type that into the chat box, and I'll kind of see if anybody is giving me any new information. I'm getting a few hearts on that. Good. Love you all too. You know, so Pura Vida. So somebody said, you know what Pura Vida is? And they pointed to our dog. We have Jerry has a dog, Galaxy, and she's laying there on, you know, on one of the sofas, one of the couches, you know, spread open wide, on her back, just conked out, right? And he said, that's Pura Vida. And if you want a real image that that describes it in a nutshell, it's that, you know, that relaxed dog on her back, just, you know, not a care in the world, just wide open and letting it all hang out. Let's see. Having today is what is real to me. The only time I have is my free will. Right on, Jan. So, you know, so Pura Vida is really about being present, right? About recognizing where you are. And this is a lot of what, you know, what I teach within the scope of the breath work as well. One of the things about the breathing technique is it's helping us to stay present, because the present is the only time that life is actually happening, right? We can project into the future and imagine all sorts of things, but that's still unreal. We can dwell in the past and continue to rehash old things and get, you know, regretful and shame about what happened, but that's already gone, and so we can never retrieve it. The only place that life is actually happening is in the present, and this is our gift, to stay present to what's before us and not get too far worked up about what we could have or what we need to build, and so on. And we work with this with the breath. Part of the breath technique that helps us stay present is that we keep our breath connected. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. We're not pausing in between the inhale and the exhale. And what this does is, the only place you can breathe is in the present. So it helps keep your mind in the present moment. As long as you're focusing on your breath, you have to be focused on the present. And as long as you're breathing continuously without pausing, the mind stays on this loop of the present and starts to get you an awareness that this is where the magic of life is happening. And when we recognize that, again, you can take a breath and you can relax into it and say, you know, whatever plans I have for the future, you know, we'll work towards those, but now is all that truly matters. Or let's say we don't sacrifice the now in our projection into the future, but we may work towards the future with this consciousness that still now is the only time we really have in which to enjoy our life. So thanks for that, Jan. And Michelle saying being totally present. So again, that plays a lot into what I was just saying. Being present, being here in this moment. And if you're ever feeling like you're getting off that, try a little bit of circular breathing. Keep your breath connected. and just focus on it. All right, you can breathe through the mouth, breathe through the nose for a short exercise like that. But just notice how focusing on the breath helps bring you back to the present moment, and then you can move forward. Tim just joined. Hello. So I love that. If anybody, again, give me your perspective on what Pura Vida is all about, or what you felt from it when you were here at Rythmia, or if you've ever been to Costa Rica and interacted with any of the ticos here. Let me know how, your perspective on Pura Vida. While we go, they're also, to an extreme. It's like your house just got destroyed by a hurricane. Pura Vida. It's all good. It's gonna get taken care of somehow, and that, perhaps, that comes about again because of the strong bonds of family and friend relationships, right? If you have nothing, if your house just got destroyed, or you lost, somebody stole all your food or whatever, if you have friends and family, they'll take care of you. They see you, they see the stress you're in, and they share with you. But if we build up this empire, wall off everybody else, and then something happens within our little self-created empire, we have nobody. If you haven't developed those relationships, you have nobody to help assist you. And I did a Facebook Live on relationships a while back, and meaning all of our relationships, not just our intimate ones. And really, relationship is the vehicle from which life is expressed, for which our evolutionary lessons and our evolutionary gifts are given, pretty much through relationship. So it's really vital to nurture and develop those. So how do we use Pura Vida? This is kind of fun, because really, no matter what you're trying to say, you could substitute the word Pura Vida in there. Like you're saying hello, it's like Pura Vida. You're saying how are you? Pura Vida. I'm fine. Pura Vida. Yes. Pura Vida. Okay. Pura Vida. Cool. That's cool, man. Pura Vida. Thank you. Pura Vida. You're welcome. Pura Vida. Bye. Pura Vida. So I thought I wanted to write these down, but you could have essentially a conversation. Hello, Pura Vida. How are you? Pura Vida. I'm fine. Pura Vida. Okay. Pura Vida. Cool, man. Pura Vida. Thanks for asking. Pura Vida. You're welcome. Pura Vida. See you later. Pura Vida. And there you have it. In 2 words, you've had a whole conversational exchange. So, so I encourage you at this point, come experience this, especially if you're an uptight Westerner like myself. It'll do you good. You might at first have to settle into it a little bit, but as you get more and more into it, it starts to grow on you, and you can take a deeper breath. So I encourage you to come to Rythmia, start to, unload the baggage that's been causing you stress and anxiety to begin with, and then spend a little extra time here in Costa Rica. Then once you've rid yourself of your baggage, you can really settle in, really connect with the people, the culture, and get that Pura Vida perspective. So try using it. Try using that word. And most important, I'd say try living it. Try living it and just see how relaxed you can actually be. That is really all I have to say on the subject today, our Facebook Live on Pura Vida and the Pura Vida culture. If you have anything else that you want to say, feel free to type it in. I'll give a few moments. While I'm waiting there, I will mention I like keeping up with all of you out there. If you want to stay in touch with me and my wisdom, the things I have to offer, whether it's the breathwork programs or coaching over the internet, what have you, you can get in touch with me through Facebook. My Facebook page is R Christian Minson, R Christian Minson, M-I-N-S-O-N. And I always ask if you friend me, that you friend me with a message. And even if you are from Rythmia, we met before, even if it was just last week, I still implore you to send me a message and just say whatever the connection was. I was at Rythmia last week. Let's be friends. Or I saw you on this Facebook Live. I really enjoyed it. I want to be friends. Or I want to know more about what you got going on. Can we be friends? Whatever. All right. Just send a little note with the friend request, and that will almost guarantee that I accept that request versus just putting your name up there and saying, be my friend. There's a lot of things I have to do in life, and that ends up being a very low priority to remember who you were, or even if I even do know you and researching all that. So just send me a little note, and I'd be happy to be your friend and happy to continue on this conversation beyond these walls. Gord saying thanks. Thank you, Gord. When are you coming again? Is it next week? Karen, thank you. Really awesome. I'm glad you liked it. I'll also say, while I got time, if you have any suggestions for topics for the Facebook Lives, I'm more than happy to field those suggestions, and I'm always looking for ways to give you something good to chew on, something good to apply in your life while you're continuing to make your decisions on coming to Rythmia or working a program that's going to take you to a deeper level. So you can do that by emailing me at Facebook, or you can put them in the comment sections here too. Michelle says, do you have spoken shared about expectations? Have you spoken or shared about expectations? Say a little bit more about that, Michelle. And I'll try to formulate that into perhaps a topic based on what angle you're coming from there. That sounds like a good one. I won't be there until April 18th. Okay, can't wait to meet you and shake your hand. Excellent, Gord. I'm looking forward to it too. So make sure I invite you all as you come to Rythmia. A lot of people come and say, hi, Christian. I'm like, hi, do I know you? Nowadays, it's a 50% chance because people are returning all the time. But more often than not, they're saying, no, I've watched all your Facebook Lives and I feel like I know you. It's kind of fun to receive people that way. And it's really doing what we set out to do. Our purpose in these Facebook Lives is to help you get to know us here at Rythmia, get to know the vibe, so you can feel a lot more comfortable. I mean, to come to plant medicine camp is not for the faint of heart, and sometimes it takes a little development of trust and development that you feel like you're getting into the right thing. I can honestly tell you, I can think of no better place than Rythmia here to have your first experience with plant medicine. It's the safest place I know. It's the most comfortable place I know. It's the cleanest place I know for you to be taken care of. The most loving place I know, with characters like myself, Candice, Jerry and Dr. Jeff, all of us who do our Facebook Lives, as well as the whole cast of staff who's here to serve essentially your every need, sometimes to kick your butt a little bit so that you can make the changes that you need in life. Gord, April 28th, no problem there. I will be here, so give me a holler once you're here. All right, so with that, the last thing I'll say, in November, we've got Breathwork Week with Greg Braden. Greg Braden will be our star special guest for the week. He'll be offering a lot of beautiful wisdom. I know I worked with him 3 or 4 times now since he came to Rythmia last year. He's invited me on the road with him to do breathwork on some of his events, and he'll be out here. He does a piece on the biology of emotional release. So how we actually biologically, what's happening on a biological level when we have an emotion and we don't express it, and then what happens to us, and how we can actually get rid of that energy. So that's one of the great things that you have to look forward to if you come. And that week is all breath work, meaning we don't do plant medicine that week. All of the ceremonies are just breathwork ceremonies. If you're like concerned, wait, am I getting ripped off there? Consider that every week people do plant medicine and breathwork. Half the crowd at least feels that the breathwork was equally as powerful as the plant medicine ceremonies, and there's always a handful that think the breathwork was even more powerful than their plant medicine. So you're really working with your own life force energy, the medicine of life itself. So there's a lot to explore there, and to me, it's a very sustainable path, meaning you can continue to practice it on and reap results all the way to the last breath you take. Hadia says hi, and just in time for me to say bye. So I think that's it for this week. R. Christian Minson, your resident breath facilitator here at Rythmia, inviting you to come on down, inviting you to friend me on Facebook and follow me in my activities. And know that when you're ready, we're here to receive you and give you the most incredible experience you probably will ever have in your life up to this point. Once you've had this experience, you go back into life and just have more amazing experiences than you could think possible. So with that, I love the hearts. Thank you to all of you who played along, who respond, who write in here. It really is a lot more fun for me when we're doing this together rather than me just talking at you. So Hadia said, the breath work helped me so much during ceremonies, and that's great too. That's, the breath work is a standalone, it's a ceremony in and of itself, and yet it's also a great tool to be able to employ when you're going through the plant ceremonies. Sometimes you'll go through rough patches. That's just old junk coming up, but focusing on the breath can really help you move through those more difficult times with a lot more ease and grace. So thanks for saying that, Hadia. And Susan, what are those dancing girls? Or anyway, Pura Vida. I'll see you next week on Rythmia Facebook Live. R. Christian Minson signing off for this week. Talk to you soon.